Hey guys, what's up? I'm here because there's a lot of talk about mental health in today's environment, and I definitely want to kind of share my journey and my story as it relates to this topic. In 2008, I was probably on top of the world if you were from the outside looking in. I had a brand new car, I had a motorcycle, I had a great job. I was one of the top ranked Division 1 decathletes in the country, had a full scholarship. I mean, the world was my oyster. And I remember a very specific and distinct time when my world kind of came crumbling down because the whole time I was wearing a mask and kind of faking it because I was sitting in front of Long Beach State on Atherton in front of the pyramid, and I cried in my car for about 20 to 30 minutes, and I had no idea where it came from. Ultimately, what I came to find out is that I was dealing with a bout of depression. Found out my mother was sick. I had turmoil in terms of the personal relationships I had in my life. I had no idea what I was about to do when I graduated college, which was coming up faster than I could have possibly realized. So all these things coming together put a level of stress and anxiety on me that I just couldn't handle. I didn't have the wherewithal to be able to digest all those things. I look back now and I can maybe, I can break it up and kind of try to understand it. But at the time, I felt that my world was ending and that I was spiraling out of control. One thing that I definitely did is I reached out to my mentor, Coach Dave Rada, and I kind of shared with him that I just broke down right before practice. And he recommended that I talk to somebody. In my whole life, I thought you had to only talk to somebody if you're crazy, if like you had a real mental issue, not if you're just going through stuff. And so I kind of put my pride aside and I went and I spoke to a therapist and I created a routine and started to really break down my thoughts, my emotions, and how I can handle myself. And ultimately, I came out a better person. I came out stronger, actually. It was very difficult because no one in my whole life, whether it was my mom, my close family, my friends, my peers, no one had any idea. Because, like I said, I was really good at putting on a smile, interacting, hanging out, doing all those things. But inside, I was dealing with a lot of stuff that I just really didn't know how to digest it, handle it, or even interpret it. So, I definitely encourage anybody that's out there that's dealing with some type of thing and they're feeling some type of way inside and you just don't know what's going on. I really recommend you talk to somebody because I wish I talked to somebody even before just so I can figure out what my baseline was, like, right? What's normal for me. So, it's something that you're never always going to see. It's not going to be, a scarlet letter. It's not going to be a sad, droopy face. And just because if you are wearing that mask and you are kind of covering those things up, just realize that there's probably somebody in your life that you need to reach out to and just communicate it with. And it just would, you have no idea how much that can help. That whole idea of being a man and sucking it up and, just being tough and working through things and kind of having grit. I think the big difference in terms of being able to recognize red flags in terms of, maybe actually something's going on is the simple fact is if there's somebody close to you and you can't admit that there's something wrong, there's probably something wrong. If you have a difficult time sharing that you're going through something, then and you feel that you're trapped and you feel that there are no answers or no solutions to what you're going through, that is when you're probably, at your worst. And you definitely need to, kind of find some avenue or escape to be able to help communicate with somebody because I think one of the most dangerous things is isolation. And that's one thing I started to do. And that's what really kind of almost made it really bad is I started to isolate myself. And if you find yourself not wanting to be around people because you don't want to show what's really going on, those are some things that you have to recognize. And I'm not a therapist or anything, but I just know that, just from my personal experience and my experience working with others, that these are some red flags that you can help you identify if you're really going through something. During this pandemic and COVID, mental health should definitely be a priority because of the simple fact is that we have no answer. There is no clear definition of what's going on, and the state of the world right now, and how we handle things, and being, almost told that you have to isolate, and not having physical contact and being able to interact is kind of scary, because there's a lot of people out there that thrive on that, and if you're not able to get that kind of interaction, that can start making you reflect inside a little bit, and maybe even create a narrative or a story that might not be real. I think the best way to be a good champion or advocate for a friend or family member that you might suspect that might be dealing with something, or might have been through some traumatic event, or dealing with some bout of depression, just letting them know that you're there, and constantly reassuring that there is no judgment, because I think that's one thing that really deters it, especially for men, is like that idea that other people are going to judge us, and this is now going to be our identity, that we are the depressed person or something like that, and we are more than the sum of our parts. And so always make sure that you're constantly trying to communicate, and make sure that you're reinforcing that you're there, you're not going to judge, that you can even one thing that I've done in the past is I've also just been vulnerable to people that I feel that are going through something difficult. I'm just vulnerable myself. I let them know something about me that they probably don't know, so that they know that I'm putting my guard down, and that it's okay for them to put their guard down as well, because these are opportunities for us to connect at a deeper level, and those are just things that I do.